I really wonder, the Prime Cabinet Secretary is giving us stories. This is a literature the Prime Cabinet is giving us, and it is very unfortunate. What I want to know from the Prime Cabinet, my question number 2 is very clear. The question is, how are you going to ensure the refugees will be returned back to Kenya? They've been there for many, many years. The answers you've given from A to I is a story on what you are going to do. You have not given us timeline. You should have told the people of Marsabit and the people of this country that on this day, we are going to visit Ethiopia. On this day, we are going to sit with the government. On this day, we are going to repatriate, bring these people back to Kenya. On this day, we are going to facilitate them on this and this. But the stories, and really, I really don't understand. The same question I am asking you, you are asking me again the same question, that this is A to I. Please tell us the timeline. Are they going to stay for another 10 years, or they are going to be back in the next 1 year? Question number 2. Honorable Speaker, these people have been in Ethiopia for quite a long time. I want the Cabinet Secretary to tell us, when is the last time people from your office visited those guys in Ethiopia? The last time, if there is even any. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Prime Cabinet Secretary, you may now proceed to respond to those 2 supplementary questions.
Mr. Speaker, I just wish to I explained myself that I will make a fairly broad statement because the issue of the refugees is a very complex matter. And I want to say that consultations and negotiations are going on. And appreciating that when you're dealing with refugees, it has to be voluntary. There can be no forced repatriation. So these discussions are going on between the government of Kenya and the government of Ethiopia and the UNHCR. And this is the reality of the matter. Mr. Speaker, for whatever it is worth, I just want to point out that we would not want Kenyans to be refugees anywhere. And if we had all the resources and all the planning, it would not necessarily take this long for the refugees to be to be repatriated. But remember, you have to do it voluntarily, because any forced repatriation will be contrary to the international law and matters of humanitarian rights. So we cannot force. We have to be, and that is why there's an elaborate process, which I've put in my statement, about preparing documentation and ensuring that the individuals, the households, voluntarily accede to repatriation. The second one is that our Department of Refugees is in touch and is seized with this matter, Mr. Speaker. So I can only say that we will continue working systematically to be able to do that. The final thing is that in Kenya, as an example, we have a similar situation in a place like Dadaab, and we have a similar situation in Kakuma. Handling challenges also as a spillover from other countries. And therefore, it is a big challenge on matters refugees. So I just want to request the Honourable Member and the House to appreciate that this is a process and we have to do it so that we are not in breach of any laws, and to also make sure that the requisite resources are available to facilitate the smooth movement of the Kenyans who are out in Ethiopia.
Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary, if I go to the Honorable Senator for Marsabit correctly, you have indicated in your response that there are 4,903 refugees who are willing to return back. So these ones are not coerced. Already they've expressed their willingness to return home. Is there any program that has been put in place, including timelines when the 4,903 will return home, so that we will deal with the others later, but for the 499,3, is there a program, including timelines when they will be brought back home?
Mr. Speaker, the 4,900 that I've given and disclosed, we have reached this after a very elaborate process that is ongoing of making sure that we are systematic in this process. That's how we've arrived at this figure. So in terms of timelines, Mr. Speaker, that is something that I can seek the indulgence of the House to get further clarification from the Department of Refugees if they can be more specific on the timelines. But I can still maintain that there'll be largely indicative timelines. They may not be those that are firmly cast in stone. They could be indicative.
Thank you, Senator Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to ask...
Before you ask your question, Senator Newton, Prime Cabinet Secretary, I'm going to allow about 10 or so senators to ask the supplementary questions. So just note down the questions as they are being asked, then you respond them at a go. Okay. Proceed. Proceed, Senator Newton, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to raise an issue with the Cabinet Secretary about very recent media reports that we are integrating refugees from other countries into Kenya through Shirika Plan. And there has been a lot of problems with the host communities. So, Mr. Speaker, my question then to the to the Prime Cabinet Secretary is exactly what is his ministry doing to see to it that the resettlement and the integration of the refugees in Kenya then has the blessings of the host community, and that the government does not just wait for UNHCR to do all the planning. Exactly what is the participation of the government in this particular matter, and what has been done in order to have the host community agree or be looped into this particular arrangement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Manzo.
Mr. Speaker, recently there was a riot by the refugees in Kakuma camp, and within a week, a chartered KQ flight flew quite a number of them to Germany. About 3 weeks ago, could the Cabinet Secretary clarify whether this information is true and whether the international law was followed to release these refugees to Germany while they wanted to be taken to their own countries? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the CS for his timely coming before even the Senator. Honorable Speaker, my question is, one is that there are refugees who are willing to return back. And they've been there for the last 20 years. And they're willing. But the Honorable Prime Secretary has not said the timelines. I don't know why the government is not prepared for that. One other thing is, there's a plan to integrate the refugees with the local communities, which is already in process. And already you are seeing somewhere in Kakuma, the locals are just demonstrating. That shows that there was no preparedness by the government. Because these people, most of them may not be able to integrate. One, they live from different regions, they come from different clans, they come from different religions and all these things. Two, there are not enough facilities to accommodate all these refugees. In the like places like Dadaab and these places, there are over 600,000 refugees. If these same people will be integrated within the locals, the infrastructure which is available is not enough. So how prepared is the government? And what is the input from UNHCR? Thank you so much.
Senator Kavindu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mine is just to ask Honorable CS how is the government plans to settle the Kenyan refugees who are here in Kenya already, because there are some refugees who are living in Kenya and they are Kenyans and they are refugees, and others called squatters. Squatters are in many places in Kenya, and these people have nowhere to go. Like there are squatters in Machakos who are being called squatters in Katelembo, and they are being told to move out. How are these people going to be settled and be kept in Kenya and to be settled? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kavindu, the Prime Cabinet Secretary is in charge of foreign affairs. That's a domestic issue that falls in a different ministry. Anyway, if the Prime Cabinet Secretary would wish to give his thoughts on that matter, he's welcome, but really it doesn't fall within his docket. Senator Cheriot, Aaron.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the opportunity and the chance. I have a question for the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and this is in regard to the State Department on that's under him on BLAs that Kenya has signed in the last 2 years. Is the Prime Cabinet Secretary in a position to tell this House how many bilateral labor agreements Kenya has signed in the last 2 years, and how many are in the process, and why there is seemingly a delay in conclusion of some of them that have been under negotiation for quite a while? Because I know these agreements will open up opportunities for many young Kenyans that are looking forward to apply their trade elsewhere where those opportunities exist. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Majority Leader, you know
Yes,
better that a supplementary question must relate to the primary question. The question you've just asked does not meet the requirements of a supplementary question. However, Prime Cabinet Secretary, if in a position to respond, you may. If not, you don't have to, because that is not a supplementary question. Senator Lomenan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to ask the Cabinet Secretary regarding the refugees in Kakuma and Dadaab. There is a report by the government to differentiate assistance given to the refugees, assistance called differentiated assistance. I wonder what is the difference between the assistance given to the refugees and assistance given to the host community. B, of that question, Mr. Speaker, is the Cabinet Secretary aware of community, the host community have been difficult, I've seen a difficulty in integrating with the refugees. And is the Cabinet Secretary aware also that enough time has not been given to the host community to participate, to be informed on how they can integrate with the refugees? Because the nature in which the government or the NCR UN have been dealing with the host communities was unfair. And because of this injustice, it has forced the host communities to refuse to integrate with the refugees. because of the hostilities of the refugees. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Boni.
Mr. Speaker,